All right. Have you dealt with this one before?
No, I was kind of confused, so I just ran around in circles for a bit and got really low health, and then was like 30 seconds behind.
Okay, so this one you're gonna have to calculate if you can kill him, um, without like basically if you can kill him or if he can live, right? Because if he can live, it's worth it for him. If you can kill him, it's worth the like you said, start your buff late. So it just depends. You gotta calculate whether you can actually kill him or not, basically.
I feel like there's no chance that Mumu can kill him because he's fast.
Yeah, with the ghost, yeah, I agree. It's good that you pull your camp. Very dangerous. Yeah, he's being that is pretty cheeky. So this
He
one,
obviously wants.
yeah,
Sorry.
he wants to execute, right? So it's very hard
Right.
since you don't have Qs. So yeah, you just gotta let him be. Maybe if you're playing a different champ with a dash, you could like order him and flash order him before he touches the turret. But yeah, he's always gonna get the execute off.
He obviously watched a video or something because this doesn't work out well for that allowing or
It doesn't work out well for who?
for this Singed. He has a terrible like. I don't think besides that he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Felt like he meant to push hook, not flash there.
I think he wanted to, but then he just didn't input the auto attack. Like you see the 2 second delay. Like we're on 2 times, so he's very delayed on his punch, basically. I think it's a good gank. Just yeah, misplayed by Blitzcrank. Okay, so now they're doing dragon. How do you respond? Yeah, this is good. Very good. Very good. And you can do dragon now. Potentially. Oh, you came from the other side. Damn.
I
So
think we get the. I think we get it. I was quite happy. I did not expect that Caitlyn to pop out of that bush.
yeah, that was smart, right? So she went left. She went all the way around because she knew you didn't have any vision there. Or she assumed so, I guess. I think the only solution here, because Blitzcrank wards the right side, right, Eric? So right side is safe, but let's say Blitzcrank doesn't have any wards. You're actually better off probably standing in the pit. So moving down
Yeah,
away from each bush. And if they collapse on you, then you sit in the very corner and they have to come all the way into the pit, right? Into this cave to kill you, which means they basically have to forfeit a 1-for-1 because for you
that
them
makes.
to auto attack you, they have to go all the way inside this entrance, right? And then Jin and Blitzcrank should clean up basically.
Like it worked for her here. Is this a good play by this Caitlyn to leave? Like, say if that Jin would have just stayed there beating on her tower.
No. So it's even worse if she doesn't kill you here. Yeah. So it's really bad for her because she's losing a lot of CS. Even worse if she doesn't get the kill here and dies, right?
Right. Like if I would have done what you said, had him either over by the vision or in the pit, probably wouldn't have killed me, and that would have been kind
A
of laying
huge
over.
win. A huge win. Yeah. You can apply that concept to anything. Let's just say you're doing grubs and you want to delay the opponents from killing you. You go to the back of the pit, they have to walk all the way in, right? It's like you can do that on grubs as well. If you have teammates coming but they're not quite there yet, right? Alright, so bot fights before you get there. Not much to do here. But you need a couple gold for Leandries. Yep, you got off the ward. Pretty good. Really good. All right, well, so far so good. Just the only thing is just like we talked about, trying to pull away from the bushes or back to the pit if you're low. Other than that, so far it's very good. This is really good too.
I figured here I didn't end up killing her, but like I feel like I chunked her enough and it kept her like she must have missed at least like quite a bit.
Yes, yes, this is really good, right? Because they're doing Herald and you've got nothing to do, so this is worth your time. The only thing I would say here is hold your ulti here. Because she's not looking, you can see she's still walking in a straight line after she CC'd you. Oh, sorry, you CC her.
Yep.
You can actually
Oh,
just keep going. You just keep hitting
I
it.
see. Yeah, I've been really trying to deliberately hold my alts like told me to count those conqueror stacks.
Yeah.
It's not, it's still just like sometimes I just push it.
Yeah, it comes down to knowing the champion. Like, this is something that'll come more and more with experience, Eric, but knowing like the champion's escape tools. So for Caitlyn, it's only E, but she hasn't E'd yet, and she's not reacting to you one, and then also you have a Q up as well after that. So worst case scenario, if she flashes your next Q, let's say she presses E and pushes herself away, you can just press R flash on her anyway and guarantee the kill. But maybe here you don't even have to use ult. So first we should just try to greed our ulti and then see if we have to even use ult.
Right. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
But this
I
is,
figured,
like
like,
you said, it's good regardless.
Because she's now still, in my mind, she's still stuck on the other side of that thing.
Exactly.
I figured those guys would take that tower and keep going, but it makes sense why they.
Yeah. Because once you guys base together here, now you can work on other turrets. Okay, never mind. Jin went back bot, but ideally, right, the AD carry is the turret killer, right? That's one of the AD carry's jobs. So ideally, the AD carry goes mid or top here and starts working on the next turret. Like, the base is good if he goes to another lane, but yeah, he goes back bot, unfortunately. So we punished the Rammus. Alright, so something I've been working on, like that's improved my game a lot, Eric, is greeting. So right here, unless you need to base because you have no resources and have a lot of gold, meaning you don't have ulti, you don't have flash, you don't have camps to kill, and you have a lot of gold to spend and there's no play to make, that's when you base. But otherwise, you should try to greed here. I would even go as far as saying if you had Sunfire here, I would not base. I would keep farming until I use my ulti on a play and then base when I don't have resources.
That makes sense. And you mentioned something similar, not quite in those same terms, but here's my thought process. Is I'm thinking the dragon's up in a minute. I want to base, like, I know it's not the best stuff, but I can get bombies in a chain vest. I'm thinking maybe that'll help me if I can get there, like if we're gonna fight this out.
Yeah, here's where I'll challenge you on that. So stats are extremely overrated. Like, they're important, but positioning and how you play the fight is going to take precedence over just raw stats, right? Because you're not fighting to the death. You know, you don't just stand still and hit each other to death. So stats aren't going to be the key factor. What usually determines a fight is like vision, positioning, and how the fight starts, right? So that's something to consider. Another thing I'll challenge you on is the value of Dragon itself. Dragon is not as important as just being stronger overall and making, like, let's say you use ulti 30 seconds before Dragon. Unless it's Soul, they're going to spend the next minute and a half moving to Dragon, or minute, let's just say. And while you have your ulti on cooldown, you give the Dragon, and then you can make another play. So it's like you get a 2 for 1, but they just get a Dragon.
That
You see
makes
it?
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
here's the issue with this though. Is there's to me there's two things. One, like where I'm at, if there's an objective to go for, it's an obvious easy thing to do, like as opposed to finding something else. Because besides my bottom camps, like I mean there's this Zyra on the tower, I guess, fair enough. I don't necessarily always see things to do. But the other thing is I feel like there's just no way humanly possible to make these people not fight for dragon. And they get really mad like if you won't do it.
Yeah, I understand. That makes sense. And if you have to fight the dragon, I would rather you fight the dragon, like like not fight the dragon, but like I'd rather you be around the area to potentially clean up or do something than to force like a situation.
That makes sense.
What I mean by that is like don't play by your teammates forcing a play, but yeah, you can facilitate what they want to do, but ideally you're not just going head first in with no ulti and trying to force the dragon situation. Maybe you're around the area. Exactly, you're around the area, you push waves or you farm camps while you're close to the area, and if your team wants to fight, they have to start it because you're not going to start it. You don't have like ulti. Like in the scenario where I'm telling you to keep farming, ulti somewhere, and then the dragon's spawning, right? And you don't have ulti.
I heard someone say, I can't remember who it was, but it was someone that I felt like had a lot of credibility. That part of the value of these things is like it forces them to fight. Like, because if we're gonna fight over this, and I've got like an item, boots, I've got a herald in my pocket, I've got ulti, I feel like I want to fight. Is what I'm thinking. Dragon or no dragon. If we can kind of get the guys rallied, maybe Blitzcrank would even come down from top lane. Like, it's good to fight here, right?
Yeah, it's good to fight, but it's even better to greed. So, yes, you want to fight the dragon, but it's even better to greed here, is what I'm saying.
Okay, that makes sense. So what I should have done here instead of backing is not farm my camps, just run to the dragon and start like maybe sweep the pick, get ready. Like, what should I do?
Oh no, just full clear, just keep farming.
Okay.
Full clear, and then see what pops up. And if there's no play, then obviously you still have full resources for dragon. Don't base and just play the fight out. Yeah, you will be there first. You don't have sweeper because you have herald, so you can use the herald to like have a moving Zhonya's basically. I don't know if I've talked to you about this before, but herald is extremely strong for team fighting.
But because you drop it and then it almost like it's his own side laner, is that kind of
You drop it and you hop in the car and no one can touch you and you run over them and you do 200 true damage.
I didn't. Oh, interesting. I never.
So you use all your cooldowns. You herald before an altercation is going to happen, and then you use all your cooldowns, and then you just hop in before you're about to die, and well, they can't kill you, literally, because you're invulnerable, right? Like in the the herald.
Oh, now your stuff. Yeah, then your stuff comes back.
So I think we'll continue to talk about Herald usage, but the basic principle I want you to have with Herald is I want you to only use Herald generally if you're going to team fight, like what we just talked about that scenario, or if it's with your AD carry.
You have told me that, basically, not quite directly as that, but here's what I was. This was my thought process. We've got a ton of grubs. We can hit this tower. There's nobody here. I'm going to get a ton of gold out of this, and we're going to break middle. That was my thought process.
That's correct, right? It literally works. But the issue is you're winning the game, and you're trading. So when it's not necessary, right? We could do the same thing later down the line, but not have our bot lane die here, right? We could push mid here and then move to dragon and be within, ability range of each other. And if anything happens, we win. If anything doesn't happen, we win because we get a free dragon, right?
That makes sense. I guess my thought process is I just don't have the confidence that I can do this later. Like, this looked like a good, like, I knew that I was pretty confident this was going to work, and I wasn't confident that I could replicate this later. Like a lot of times when I just run around with this thing and do nothing.
Yeah, maybe we can look at other timers in different games, but I think you should definitely. I think this definitely will bite you in the ass overall
Okay.
because you are trading gold. You're gaining gold, but you're trading gold. It's like,
Right. Because
yeah,
yeah. Okay, let me see if I can just. I want to make sure I understand what you're saying and say it like right back to you. But like when I look at this, my bot lane is like standing there staring at the dog, the dragon pit, like my dog does before I feed him. They're
yeah,
not going anywhere, and if I don't go to them, they're going to die because the enemy jungler's coming, the enemy top laner's coming. For whatever reason, the enemy support looks like top lane, and that ADC is going to appear somewhere in the mid laners. Is that
it's
fair?
it's true, but I just don't I don't like the way you're thinking about it. It's not about making sure your teammates don't die. It's that it's a win-win no matter what, and then for what you're doing, it's guaranteed win-loss, right? Because they're staring at each other. That means you're trading them off as soon as you herald mid. So
Yeah, that was kind of what I was trying to explain to you. Is like what I'm doing here. I'm letting these guys die and giving up this dragon in exchange for these two towers. What you're
yeah,
saying is, I could have gone here. We could have killed them all and then gotten the towers or done whatever.
yeah. But the thing is, if they run, it's still a win-win, right? Because them fighting is not in your control, right? So that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. It's a win-win or it's a win trade, which depending on what they do or how severely, whatever the situation happens there, it's going to be a trade of gold. So yeah, we're on the same page on that. It's when we say that you can do a play after, I don't necessarily mean you're going to herald mid off the dragon, right? It just depends on what happens.
Yeah,
But
you're not saying you're going to do this immediately after. You're saying I
exactly,
can do something just as good later on.
yeah, it depends, right? Yeah, but you will get something just as good later on as long as your AD carry is involved in the play. Also, something I wouldn't recommend either is taking inhib before 20 minutes, because you're actually just giving them free gold if you if you kill inhib, and there's no reason to be like in the middle of the map, right? Because there's no Baron.
Fair.
Good. Let me write that down.
One of the things here, sure, I've really been trying to do is like be thinking like, can we set the Baron up here like what we
Yeah.
talked about? That's kind of been the focus of me. I worked a couple times. I think I'm making progress there, but slowly.
Let's see. Here there's no Baron opportunity because look at the wave states, right? All three waves are getting pushed in, even though we killed them. So this is fine.
How does a Mumu do with pushing waves? Like if
Very
I was
good.
playing, okay, good. Because if I was playing like Udyr or like
Oh,
Master
oh.
Yi, I'd be a lot more proactive in pushing waves. I kind of felt like that was something that he should not do, but
No,
sounds like I'm wrong on
your E is amazing, but the problem is if you push waves that isn't bot, oh sorry, isn't top or mid, then more than likely with no teleport, your team's gonna get collapsed on, and that you always are exposing your teammates. If you push bot after Baron, like it's obvious, like they can just start Baron, right? Because you don't have TP. So
Yeah,
generally, it's
clearly.
only going to be top, maybe if your top laner is not active or your mid laner is not top. So this is a really good call right here for the Baron if your teammates are actually moving to the Baron. But as soon as they're not, we can just adapt, right? We can do Raptors and literally, like, literally walk them to the Baron, guide them to the Baron if they do not want to actually do the Baron.
I was honestly, this was something I did because I was just getting so annoyed with them. I was
Yeah.
like, if I go over and start this Baron, they will eventually come over. I
no,
know
no.
I knew it was not the right play when I knew it was wrong, but I was just like, no, because Alawi, of course, going to fight their whole team.
Yeah, you literally gotta guide them there, but it's the good Baron call, like you said. Like, I think this is definitely improvement, but we should be letting we should be guiding them to the Baron. Hey, this is really good. Yeah, like, good calls, really good. I feel like in the past, this game could have went to like 45 minutes. Right? You're at 27 minutes and you've already broken 2 Nexus towers. And almost won the game, right? Off this play. But I don't know what happens here, but we don't end. But you know what I mean, there's clearly improvement here, right? So that's good.
Good, thank you for saying so. I'm trying and I'm hoping. I really do think that was my problem before, was just focusing on trying to get as strong as possible.
Yep. Wait, why was that a problem? Just focused on getting as strong as possible. You mean
not doing
mid game?
Like, I would just try to get as strong as possible, but like never really do anything unless it fell in my lap.
Advance the game, yeah. Alright, so one adjustment we can make for the mid game that I think is really important, because some games, when you do this, your team is just gonna die. Sometimes, right? Other times, like this situation, you get away with it, right? But the big thing with junglers having no TP, like we talked about pushing waves. So ideally, we play 2 lanes. Right? This is just a simple rule of thumb. It's not a rule to follow. It's just a principle. But you can play 3 lanes, but you expose the other 2, right? Because you don't have TP. So what you can do when you're winning the game to close out is just play 2 lanes, right? So by playing 2 lanes, we control one side of the jungle instead of spreading thin, right? All the way around. We just do one side, and obviously they can't backdoor, right? Because you're faster than them, assuming you're winning the game. So generally they have to respond to you playing 4-1 in 2 lanes and hovering between the 2 sides, right? Mid and bot, or top and mid.
That makes perfect sense. And so, like, say if I wasn't up here, I would be down here. Would I be stealing the jungle camps and kind of trying to be ready to respond to whatever happened? Would that kind of be the default?
Yes, you have the inside track. So the big thing to understand about like mid game and having control of the 2 lanes and having control of the jungle is every entrance for them to go to A to B, if you look at my cursor, requires them to walk through the jungle if they want the fast track into the jungle. Fast track between the lanes. So what you have is, you have the expressway between the lanes, and they have to go the long way to defend mid and bot. So that's something to use to your advantage, where you'll be farming camps in between, and if there's no camps, it doesn't matter. You will be breaking towers or diving them or killing them because they have to go the long way around. So you're always going to have a numbers advantage, right? If someone doesn't show mid, you kill the Nexus, so someone needs to go mid, right? So whoever's pushing mid gets the inside track to bot side. So there's always going to be a numbers advantage no matter what, as long as you're hovering, you have control of the jungle, essentially, because you have the inside track to each lane while they have to go the long way around.
So what makes bot choice? Is it because Blitzcrank's there? Is it because there's more wards up bot? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't...
Bot's the choice because everyone is bot. There's no actual good reason. Like, if you want your team to come top lane, just tell them to come top lane. If they don't come, just go bot lane. It really doesn't matter. But in this scenario, you're on that on you're at Golems and Blitzcrank is on Grom. So we just need to choose like one side, basically.
And who would that be the support that's like support in the jungle together? Like who's kind of making that? Is it the
It's
laner?
it's the laner. It's whoever has push. In this scenario, no one has side lane push, right? So there's no lane to play towards because Nefuri opened mid. But if Nefuri opened top, we should be top mid. If Nefuri opened bot, we should be mid bot. If Alawi opened top, like it's whoever has the first side lane wave. So doesn't really matter. It's just which side laner moves to the side lane first and which lane can we push first, right? Because at the end of the day, we're trying to end the game, right? We're trying to progress the game and end the game because we're ahead. So it's we get basically dibs on anything, right? We got choices everywhere here. It's just about making the choice and then sticking, not spreading thin, so that we get exposed on each side, right? Because now they can just engage on any lane, and if they fight, there's always going to be a numbers advantage to them.
Do you see what I'm saying? Though, like, because when here, this is just a point of confusion. I'm not totally understanding what would take me bot. Like now they're all bot, obviously, but I'm basic. When I go up here, I started stealing these top jungle camps. Like, is it the fact that the support is down there? What would
No,
draw me to the bot? So I
no,
would team up with my support.
no. What's going to draw you to bot is, yes, teaming up with your support. Well, yes, that's one. But the other thing is just paying attention to your teammates' movements, right? So you're either going to influence them and guide them to you, or you're going to guide yourself to them. Either way, like we need to do one or the other. So
Right.
I would say basically at this point, your 80 carry is dead, right? We talked about before the 80 carry's role is the turret killer. So what you're doing here is actually fine. But as soon as your 80 carry starts moving here, right? And moving mid, after this tower, you definitely need a beeline at bot, right? Because look where they are and look where you are. They've decided we're going to play around the Blitzcrank. So you have to just adjust to the environment and what's going on and adapt.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's more at this point that
Yes,
right?
because before your 80 carry was dead. All right, if your 80 carry was here, I wouldn't even touch this top wave. But in this specific scenario,
okay, that makes
the 80 carry is dead, right? So you have a lot of spare time. Looks like they end up F-ing. We don't need to really
yeah,
end the game. What's going on? Oh, okay. I don't snooze. Okay. So, yeah, just to reiterate here, like another example right here, right? Alawi's bot and Nefuri's TP, which means we don't go to Raptors. We go beeline it straight to Blitzcrank and mid bot.
How would you describe? Can you kind of just explain this to me in the? I think I understand it, but like, how would people discuss this? Like, if you were discussing this with like a team you were playing on, or like someone that was like actually good that you were coaching, what's the language that?
The language would be pretty much what I was saying. The language would be, yeah. I mean,
guess what I'm saying is
I'm explaining the same way.
Yeah. Is it being like because you explained it to me, but I feel like this is something people must have a shorthand for because it seems quite fundamental to me. Now that you
Oh no, it's definitely not. It's fundamental. Oh well, yes, it's fundamental, but something that's fundamental sometimes doesn't necessarily mean that everyone understands it and does it, right? So, like even in Challenger, no, people don't understand this, and that's why people get frustrated because they feel like a gust in the wind, right? In heavy wind, because the mid game isn't like they don't understand it, so they feel like it's just a coin flip whether you win or lose, unless you're extremely far ahead. And that's like the worst feeling when you don't feel like you have influence over the game.
Totally. 100%. Like it's the worst thing about trying to learn to play this game because the early game's relatively like formulaic, and I think you figure it out to a certain level. But the mid game is very like amorphous, and it is very like that. The wind analogy.
Yeah, I mean, I relate to a lot. That's why I had to figure out like how to win games, how to progress games. Because yeah, I had the same. I would win a lot by just trying to be as strong as possible, but sometimes when you're not that far ahead, you realize, wait, it's very difficult to close the game out. If you're not actively trying to progress the game. The main thing is just understanding that your job is to kill the Nexus, right? And when you're ahead, your job becomes a lot easier the more coordinated you are with trying to kill towers to kill the Nexus, right? It's like as simple as that sounds, it's true.
No, it's helpful to hear it like that. Makes
Yeah, I mean sometimes like some like things like that you don't think about because we're so tunneled on, you know, efficiency, camps, team fighting. We don't realize, wait, the goal is to kill the Nexus. That's like that's how you win the game. But you're kiting the camps much better. I mean, I actually wasn't paying attention that much. Like for your clear for the first VOD, but looking at that, pulling the camps pretty well. Very good.
I'm trying to focus on getting, even if it's no faster because the kiting's not very good. I'm still trying to do it.
Exactly.
Is that the right default play? Is to sweep out through there to that bush?
I would keep your ward level 1 to be honest, unless you need
Okay.
it to a defensive ward. I guess you used it for defensive ward, yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah, if you're gonna have sweeper, yeah, that's fine. But I would say don't even clear the ward. I would say sweep it, and then if there's a ward there, they actually don't see you. They see that the map's gone dark, but they don't see you. So if they're not paying full attention, they don't actually see that the ward's being disabled, and they don't see a Mumu on the mini map.
So I thought it worked.
Yeah.
But I wasn't totally. Can we talk about this just when I get in, like as I come up to the river here, and just this? If you could pause it, please.
Yeah.
Where like here. So this is something that I feel like I could make a lot of improvement on, but I might be going down the wrong path. I feel like this is how I think of. I'm doing my clear, and I'm kind of since I'm coming bot, I'm looking bot because really the only place that I feel like I've got a legitimate shot. The way that this pathing works, I feel like mid would
I
have
agree.
to. So I'm looking, and is this likely? Are they pushing? And Nathan's got a thing on the website, and honestly, it's overwhelming of all the factors you're supposed to consider. If the point of that video is to explain to me that I will never be good at this game, it made its point because there's like 50 things on there, and
All right.
I'll never do. So what I'm trying to figure out is like, I think I like his alligator thing. I don't know how much of those videos he made you've watched, but he had this alligator. What if you want to eat the gazelle? You can't just go running at him the second he's like 30 yards from the watering hole. You got to let him have a couple drinks to relax. And I feel like there'd be a lot of benefit to me in kind of mastering that. 'Cause I feel like my ganks are really like they're just kind of YOLO. Like these guys are past the river, they're putting a wave under, so I'm just gonna run it. That's kind of my thought process.
That is a good analogy if you don't take into account there is opposition, other people trying to gun for the same thing, but it's just on the flip side, right? So obviously in that analogy, in the context of the game, you have another alligator who wants to do the same thing to your herd. It's cannibalism. So
Or even me if he's hiding on the right
exactly,
there, right?
exactly. You might just lose a leg or two. So the problem with that situation is time is a resource, whereas in that analogy, time is not a resource, right? Because you have all day.
That's kind of the thing is, but I think what he's trying to do is get people like me. I will invest like 2 to 3 seconds considering these ganks before I kind of just go or don't. And I'm wondering, would it behoove me to spend like more like 10 or 15 seconds kind of hanging around to see gank.
Nah, I think speed kills in these. I would rather go with the mindset that speed kills, because the faster,
Okay,
more efficient you do these plays. Okay, so if you waited 5 seconds and that made the kill 6 seconds faster, like your gank, more efficient, then 100%, right? Because you just gained 1 second. But if you wait 5 seconds and then you end up getting the kill that you could have gotten anyway, but it was a little bit dirtier, um, then you're just wasting 5 seconds, right? As long as you're actually getting the end goal of what you want, like you're winning in that scenario.
sure, but I don't know when I go in if I'm going to get the.
Yeah, and now so that's just a different topic. So this is about experience and judgment, right? So judging whether this freeze frame is good to go for,
I
right?
think it's awesome.
Exactly.
These guys are totally screwed because they don't have this wave in any way under. The wave is what?
It's not that
Six
big
to
either. Yeah, 6 to 6.
equal
Yeah.
state. They're running at them. They're all excited. They've probably blown a bunch of abilities. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Pantheon just used his WQ. Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like if I could have recruited these guys to get on these guys a bit better, we're probably going to
How would you do that though?
just make more of these arrows.
Oh.
Like something that I'm coming like maybe earlier and like until it makes me stop doing them or something. Because like
I don't
that's
know.
not
I
me.
think
That's
this is
them.
pretty perfect to me.
So then can you explain to me why these guys like it? Okay. So can we just go through this slowly? Because this is something that I really don't put a lot of thought into, if that makes
Of course. Well, the reason why it's perfect to me is because Pantheon is going in at the same time you're about to enter the lane.
totally.
Literally.
Like, yeah.
But when you say maybe you should have helped recruit them to help you make this be on the same page on the same play, that's not in their control. The Pantheon doesn't have to W into the card. So what you're doing here is not rather helping set up better. The reason why it's perfect is because you're punishing the opponent's mistake. It's not that your target Ezra created this opportunity, it's that the Pantheon made a grave mistake.
Got it. No, when I say maybe I could recruit them better, is like I think what happens here, if I remember this right, is one of them, the one's probably scared that's all beat up, but I don't think they both kind of turn with the confidence that I would have liked. And I'm just wondering if there's anything besides pinging that I can.
Oh, let me see. It's all good except for the Ezra. Ezra should just press E. But other than that, he didn't E here, did he? Let me see. No, he didn't E here. So yeah, I think the only thing Ezra could have done better is E straight away. After this, and we probably kill Ash or Burner Flash. I think Ezra just played it too slow. I don't think there's anything you could have done better. It's basically what I'm saying in terms of like communication. Is that all? Is that answer all your questions?
Yes, I think the situation, like, so say if I would have got there 10 seconds early, does it make sense to hang out for 10 seconds? Like, say if my clear was the way you and so I was there when they were like, and they're sort of on their side of the river.
They're on their side. Yes, you would
let's
wait.
scroll it back 10 seconds. I can just hang out for 10 seconds and crocodile thing.
Yes, you would wait because you've swept, and assuming they didn't see you, you have to wait for Pantheon to go in most of the time. So yes, that would be good. Because you have nothing to do, right? No scuttle crab. It's like, let's say you're there at 320, like you said, 10 seconds earlier. Then, yeah, you've got nothing to do. So you might as well set it up perfectly.
Because I guess what I'm trying to figure out is what can I change? Like, I think changing to trying to close the games out and with the Baron is like huge upgrade for me. I guess what I'm trying to figure is what can I do differently to be more successful with my ganks, like killing more people early. But then the question that comes before this, is that even what I should be focused on or worrying about? Does that make sense?
Um, for early game, I don't think we talked about last review. We didn't talk much about early game.
No, because I've been asking you to focus on mid game. So no, we didn't.
Yeah, right. So in that sense, in an overall aspect, no. If you're talking about early game, then it's possible. Maybe I don't have enough big enough sample size, but for example, here this is literally perfect timing.
But it was luck. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? It was lucky.
Yeah, but how do you focus on that, right? Because like I said, it comes down to experience, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that Pantheon wants the W in, so you wait for the Pantheon W instead of going straight away in the theoretical scenario that you clear 10 seconds faster, it comes from experience. Knowing that when Pantheon dashes, he uses the stun and he commits himself to melee range, right? It's this sort of experience that it's very hard to work on. It's more like you get the more accumulative knowledge you have of like just situations like this, the better a judgment you're gonna have.
Okay, that makes
Like for example, knowing you can flash Q here is sort of like accumulated experience, right? Knowing that this can work out, for example. Um, so I think it sort of relates to the same thing. Where it's very hard to just like focus on ganking better. It's more like you have to learn as much from your experiences as possible.
okay, that makes sense.
I like this. This might not be good. Oh, Carly's coming, so it works out.